Well, it's been a while since I've done this, so hopefully I've set everything up correctly. All right. Well, let's go full cam. See my slick polo that I got as a giveaway at one of the Cardinals games here recently. All right. Brendan, since you're the only one here, you got to let me know if the audio's working properly. Like, can you hear me? Can you hear the faded background music? Audio needs to be turned up. Like my mic or... Okay, how about that? Is that good? Is that better? Testing, 1, 2, 3. Much better? Okay, perfect. Which means oh, well, I forgot to add the music to this scene. So let me put that back in real quick. Define better is... Do you have to have the volume cranked in Twitch in order to hear me like I do with Kamish, because everything on his stream is quiet? Do I need to turn it up a little more? Or is that fine? Testing. Channeling my inner Patrick Star there. Oh, pfft. Ass. All right. In that case, I'm going to move on. All right. So... this is going to be mostly for the people watching this on recording, because I don't know how many people are actually going to show up to the live stream. But welcome, everyone, to my third annual tournament within Super Mega Baseball 4, where I take the current rosters of the EMLB universe. And if you don't know what that is Kamish LB, who is organizing this whole thing. Has an online out of the park baseball league that he's been doing for 25 years. I've been doing for 5 at this point, 5 or 6, something like that. No, it's got to be more than 6, because this is his 6th annual streamathon, so 7 or 8 at this point. And I participate in his annual charity streamathon, which is, you can see up at the top, we've got the fundraiser goal up there. This is his 6th annual charity streamathon. This is my 4th year participating in it, I think. And this is my 3rd year doing this tournament. And I do this tournament in honor of my mom, who unfortunately passed away to cancer 3 years ago. And I started the tournament a couple months after she passed away. She was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer back in 2016. And passed away 3 years ago. So I do this tournament as a way to honor her memory and help Kamish LB raise funds for the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute and the Jimmy Fund, which helps, as they call it, strike out cancer in kids. And so I am very happy to participate in this every year, and this is my way of giving back. And so I tie it to Kamish's EMLB universe by taking the rosters from out of the park baseball and translating them over to rosters in Super Mega Baseball 4. Last 2 years, what I did was during the streamathon, Kamish does opening day of whatever season we're on and does a massive stream of a bunch of games around the league for opening day. And so what I had done is my tournaments had been, let's make the rosters the same as if they are the opening day rosters of the universe. And that was fine. But this year I wanted to mix it up a little bit. Instead of just focusing on the opening day rosters, what I did this year was I looked at the potential ratings of all of the players across the league including those that are in the major leagues at the time and those that are considered prospects, like the top prospects plus the major leaguers. And I chose the best of the best for each of the organizations. So, for example, for my Cardinals, I have a mix of my current major league stars and my prospects that are waiting in the wings and ready to make their debut at some point in the future in the universe. And I created them in Super Mega Baseball 4 as if they had realized the potentials that their ratings are in game, their potential ratings in game, instead of their actual ratings. So I figured I would start out this stream with two things. We're going to do the group draw, which is the way we determine the group stage. I did this tournament World Cup style, where we have a group stage and a knockout stage. And as we go through all of these, we are going to we're going to go through each of the teams and do a quick preview of the players that are on each rosters, because in terms of the prospects, they may not be well known throughout the EMLB universe because they are still in the minor leagues and they're the potential up and coming stars of the future. So we get to highlight both the stars of today and the stars of tomorrow with this tournament. And so I should not be looking at the channels. Brendan is texting in right now with the Patrick meme. And so, yeah, so we'll go through all of that. And I have Super Mega Baseball pulled up so we can look at the rosters. And I have my wheel of choice for my wheel of choices for the randomization of the group draw. So for those of you that don't follow the World Cup, essentially what they do is all of the teams that participate in the World Cup, they put them into different pots based on their rankings and what geography they're from. So I took the EMLB universe, put them in the 4 pots, tiers 1, 2, 3, and 4. Tier 1 are the best teams based on the end of this current season. Pot 4 are the worst teams, and everything in between. And so one team from each pot will be in each of the 8 groups. And then once we start pool play, each team will play a home and away against every other team in their group. And the top 2 teams in each group move on to the knockout stage with 16 teams. And then we'll just do a best of 3 series knockout bracket from there. So there's going to be a lot of content that I'm going to be posting both here on Twitch and on my YouTube. I will stream it here to Twitch first and then copy it over to my YouTube. Everything Andrew Pays, just search for it. No one else has that name. It's unique. So without further ado, I'm going to get into it. And so let me make sure I select the right screen here. All right. So this is the wheel of randomization. And on the bottom right, we have the... Ooh, I'm going to mute that. I don't want to hear that. There we go. Oh, much better. I don't need to hear the clicking of the menu as we go through. So I've got... Oh, I guess I didn't name all the divisions yet. Let's see. So this is Group 1. And right now, these are not the groups as they are. They just had to put the teams somewhere. Space. Oops. Group space 2. Oh, right. A through H. Duh. I'm dumb. If we got to keep it like World Cup style. You are absolutely right, Brendan. At least I have someone here watching to keep me honest. I got myself mixed up with pot 1, 2, and 3, and 4. Gee, I wish I had copy and paste on the Xbox. No, not groups. D. All right, let's see. Group E. A. Give me a B. B. Are you going to spell out my entire name in the chat? All right. What was that? E and then F. G and H. Now, for those of you... Oops, no, G. For those of you that missed last year's tournament was... I did the group stage the same way, but we only had the group winners move on, and so it was just an 8-team knockout. But I wanted more teams to be in the knockout this time around. And the Toronto Blue Jays actually ended up winning the entire tournament. Year one of this, the Los Angeles Angels won the tournament off of a walk-off home run from Shohei Ohtani. And unfortunately, Shohei Ohtani is not good enough to be on these rosters. So no Shohei Ohtani on here because he's old in our universe in 2031. No, not Blue Jays. I said Rays. Rays, not Blue Jays. Rays won. All right. Now we got the group set. Okay. So we've got right here, we've got pot 1 with the teams. And then we also have, I guess I need to replace the numbers with letters. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. Okay. So we've got the groups here. We've got the teams from pot 1 here. And from pot 1, we've got we've got the 6 division winners from the current EMLB season in 2031, which is the Padres in the NL West, the Phillies in the NL East, Astros AL West, Blue Jays AL East, Cardinals, yes, NL Central, White Sox AL Central, and then the top 2 wild card teams with the best records, which in this case were the LA Angels and the New York Mets. So how this will work is I will spin the wheel, it'll select a team, then I will spin the group wheel and it will select a group, and that's where the team will go, and I will mix them around. And as the team is selected, I will go through a quick preview of that team, going through the players of each team and their mainly I want to focus on the prospects because those are the ones that are not as well known. So we will go through those as well. So without further ado, let's have the first team that we will preview. And it will be, of course, the Philadelphia Phillies. Oh, that's funny. So the Phillies are the first team that we will preview here. We'll switch gears. I'm not going to select the group yet. I'm going to go ahead and preview them. So here are the Philadelphia Phillies. You notice that they don't have any catchers. Because, and I just realized this, Alex Murray was supposed to be, I need to edit him. Alex Murray is supposed to be catcher eligible. So I will fix that real quick. Where's Kelly? Or Murray? Believe it was Murray. Too bad I can't do catcher and outfield. But anyway. All right, so Alex Murray is a catcher. Let's go through this. Okay, so the reason why the Phillies don't have any catchers on their roster is because their primary catcher is Dante Habersham, who is a two-way player, and you put them as a pitcher first, and then you give them the ability, you see in the bottom left-hand corner there, of two-way catcher. And then the other catcher is Alex Murray, who plays outfield and catcher for the Phillies. So that is why they don't have any actually primary rostered catchers. I believe it was supposed to be Murray that can catch. Yes, it's Murray that can catch. So he's the backup catcher technically. So Murray will catch when Habersham is pitching, essentially. So I just realized that you aren't going to be able to see the bottom part of this roster. So let me adjust my camera so you can see everybody. There we go. All right, so Wade Beers, your standard all-star first baseman. Hank Ewing is a 29-year-old first baseman, kind of the next best first baseman in the org. Not really anything special. Bobby Orr, defensive superstar at second base. J-Rod Carew, the contact master over at third. Ernie Altman is a prospect in the Phillies system. He is he's 27 years old, so I don't know how much of you can call him a prospect, but he's the next best third baseman on the roster. And then Neil Caffrey, probably the best defensive shortstop in the game that we've got. Kevin Telemontes is where is he on my list here? He is the top Phillies prospect on this roster. You can see he's rated out as an A- overall. He is a left fielder. He has a lot of power and decent defense. Alex Murray, like I mentioned, is pretty much a utility guy. He can play outfield. He can play catcher. Mike Cessna is another prospect in the Phillies system. Decent speed and decent bat. Smitty Lyon is on the Major League roster. Decent corner outfielder and first baseman. Gavin Cross, another defensive superstar. As you can see in the right-hand corner, they've got like bar chart of how good the team is at each different category, and they are called extreme defensive experts, which should surprise nobody. Then we've got the Rob Deere Jr., one of the best right fielders in the game. Andy Gilbert, another utility superstar. Phil Hebrew likes his utility superstars. And then the best player on the roster, Dante Haversham, the two-way superstar, catcher, and pitcher. Corbin Coe, the reigning Cy Young Award winner. Andrew Hunter and Ethan Knight round out the rotation. And then Chad Cuff actually gets bumped to the bullpen here because these rosters sport a 4-man rotation roster. Matt McClendon, Jeremy Rathburn, Joe Quintal, and one of the highest paid reliever in the game, and Andrew James. So that is the Phillies roster, spearheaded by Dante Haversham, the extreme defensive experts. Now let's see which group they will join. And they will join Group C. Let me see if I can... Whoops, I had caps lock on. I have a spreadsheet where I'm tracking all this. That way I can make sure I get this right. No, I want this to be B. But I'm not going to show the spreadsheet on stream, much to y'all's chagrin. Oh, well, that's dumb. I tried to copy it over, and it copied Group A and B over and over again. So D. What was the big fancy word? I promise I will go through these a little bit faster as we go. Chagrin. Oh. All right, so the Phillies are in Group C, and we will remove that from the board. And we remove the Phillies from the board. Next up, we've got the Houston Astros. Let me go ahead and move the Phillies to Group C. I'll move them, switch them with the Astros. That makes sense. And we'll go back and look at the Astros roster. The Astros roster, led by Bazard. We've got the ever stalwart Grayson Rowand at catcher. I will say some of the grading system that Out of the Park Baseball has is kind of weird. Like Grayson Rowand should be better than a B rating, but if you are slow or if you don't have good defense, they really kill you in the ratings. Like some of the best hitters in this tournament are rated as like a C+ or a B- because their speed is so bad. Like you'll see in the Cardinals, Shane Rodecker is one of the better hitters in the game, but his speed pulls down his overall grade. So for hitters, you're going to see a lot lower grades. Oh, wow. We have a raid. Tails Trails. Wow. Hello. Well, welcome in, Tails, with your party of 5. I don't recognize you, so I'm assuming you don't know me. My name's Andrew Pays. I'm not normally a streamer. This is the first time I've streamed in a year. But every year I do stream this, which is my Sandy Alexander Memorial Tournament in Super Mega Baseball 4, where I am a member of the Fluffy Kitty Ninja community run by Commish LB. He is the commissioner of our online Out of the Park Baseball universe, and he puts on an annual charity streamathon every year to raise money for the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute and the Jimmy Fund, as you see up at the top here. And this is my part in helping raise money for that, and it's a way to honor my mom who passed away from cancer 3 years ago. This is my 3rd year doing this tournament, and what I do is I take players from our Out of the Park Baseball universe, translate their ratings over into Super Mega Baseball 4, and create a World Cup style tournament from there. So welcome in. Thank you so much for the raid. Welcome on in. Do not subscribe or donate to me at all. If you want to do anything, use the link !charity. Also, Stream Elements will roll the link, the charity or link through that. Please do not subscribe to me, though. I'm not doing this to stream or do any content or anything like that. I'm doing this as a part of the Streamathon. So welcome in. Thanks for joining us. So we are going through the Houston Astros roster right now because they just got selected on our group draw. Josh Pytig is the backup catcher. He is a prospect. I am on the wrong team. I'm still on the Phillies. Trying to look up all these players. He is a prospect in the Astros system. Ruben Carrasco, like I said, he's a good hitting first baseman, but his speed and arm pulled down his overall rating to a B-. Same thing with Shamar Hosky. He has a lot of power and contact, but his 5 speed and horrible defense really pull him down. He's essentially a DH, but he's better than a C- rating. He just doesn't have the speed or defense. John Drury is a young second baseman in the Houston Astros system. I don't think he's cracked the majors yet, or did he? He did this year. He played 32 games with the Astros this year. No, he played last year too. He's been kind of up and down, but he is a young second baseman on the Astros roster. DeMarco Flexington, one of the most recent draft picks of the Houston Astros, is also a second baseman on this roster. Starting shortstop Ray Lejay. Ernesto Castro is another prospect in the Astros system. Pretty decent glove and arm. Yordan Alvarez, another one of the, why is this only a B rating? Because he's a really good bat, just not good defense. Joe Afuso, or Josh Afuso, not Joe. Josh Afuso, a top outfield prospect in the Astros system. Bill Wirtz, the 28-year-old starting outfielder. Sammy Isla, the defensive superstar. James Outman has always been solid for the Astros. And then their ace, their star player, Martin Bradford on the mound. Mike Urrieta, as well as Derek Waters, Arturo Moreno, and Steve Meadows are all young arms that are going to make this rotation good for a long time. Moreno and Meadows specifically are top pitching prospects in the Astros system. Frank Glaus has been at the majors for a while. Same with Jeremy Bozen. Oh, no, Jeremy Bozen's still young. He's still young. Steve Calder, and then the star closer, Chase Bradford. Probably will need to go through those quicker. But what group will the Astros join? They will be joining Group E. Group E is where the Astros will go. Now, this isn't really fun right now because we don't know what teams are going to be in there with them, but we'll see. So let's swap. They were almost in E. All right, so they're in E. Next up, what team do we have next? We have your AL East champion, Toronto Blue Jays. Toronto. Let's pull them up here. Where are they? They're over. Yes, Brendan does not like the Blue Jays in our universe as the Yankees GM. All right. Boo, they stink. All right, so for the Toronto Blue Jays, we have Chubby Nutsman, one of the most recent draft picks of the Toronto Blue Jays at catcher, as well as their current starting Ham Portal, the great Hambino. Yes, modeled after the great Hambino from The Sandlot. For those of you that are new here, we do have custom created players created by members of our community, Ham Porter being one of them, Chubby Nutsman. Chubby Nutsman is actually a community created player, but someone created him as a combination of two prior community created players with the last name Nutsman in of one and the first name Chubby of another one. Just created a new player. I think those were the first two that retired out of our universe in terms of community created players. Anyway, Ismael Bracamontes, one of the best power hitters in the game at first. Louis Delgadillo is a second base prospect in the Blue Jays system. Ed Brown, one of the best third basemen in the game. Clark Reedy, another second base prospect in the system. Jordan Cage, one of the best defensive shortstops in the universe. And we got Sergio Morales, who's recently cracked the majors. He can play both left field and first base. Jorge Magana is an outfield prospect as well, can play first. Trevor Gretzky, the center fielder for the Blue Jays. Brad Oleson, another prospect. Drew Jones, who was created to try to mimic his real life prospect self, the son of Andrew Jones, is a center fielder. Kyler Murray, a community created player. He doesn't play football in this universe. He plays baseball. Braden Halliday, the community created player created as the son of Roy Halladay, along with the community created player William H. Money, are the top two pitchers in this rotation, followed by, Hawkeye Clint Barton, as well as real life pitcher Tanner Houck. And we've got Ben Dudley, Arturo Herrera, Rafael A. Martinez. Pretty much all of their pitchers are not prospects. They're all players on their final roster. Pete Fontenot and then Dalbert Siri. And they are rated as extreme rotation aces, and they got A+, AA for their 4 starting pitchers. And so, what group will the Blue Jays join? The Blue Jays will be joining Group F. Just moving the Mets around a little bit. So we've got Group F for the Toronto Blue Jays. Wait, hold on. Let me do this real quick. Make it easier for me. Boom. Okay. Okay, so I don't have to scroll anymore. Gee whiz. Okay. Next team we will preview is the AL Central and World AL champions from last season, Chicago White Sox. And they are right here. So the White Sox, led by community created player Lane Staley, one of the best catchers in the game right now. Esteban Urenda is a prospect catcher in the White Sox system. Pretty decent bat, pretty decent arm, but not the best glove. Colton Short, one of the best power hitters and all-around hitters, honestly, in the game. But as you can see, once again, 95 power, 85 contact, but slow speed fielding and arm means his rating is an A- instead of like AA+ or S. Jeff Rowe, a first base prospect in the White Sox system, 22-year-old, hopefully will be hitting the majors soon. And some punk named LeBlond, the likeness of our stalwart commissioner James LeBlond, is over at second. Billy Cantave, third base prospect in the White Sox system. Brett Andrews, the defensive dynamo, 99 arm, 87 fielding, 79 speed, but suspect with the bat. D-Block Dragon, the community created player of the Rays GM, D-Block Dragon of the same name. And the man with his own theme song in this universe, which there is another player with his own theme song, Kamish. You keep ignoring Pablo Sanchez. But it's also the only one that was made by a member of the universe. So I got to give credit to Jake on that one for making the theme song for Leonardo Broccoli. It's pretty nice. But yes, one of the best names in our universe, not a community created player, was actually generated by the game, Leonardo Broccoli. Tim the Goat DeGroat over in left field. Is he still a prospect? Yes, he's still a prospect, still in the system. Carl Gross, another left fielder, another prospect. He's actually rated, he's got higher potential than DeGroat. Then, yes, Julio Wide Rodriguez, the real life, the counterpart of the real life Julio Rodriguez in Seattle. Pedro Serrano, who is famously known for not hitting curveball. Probably one of my favorite traits that I was able to give someone is I gave Pedro Serrano the fastball hitter trait. Normally, I was trying to keep traits specific to stats. Like if you have a really good eye and you walk a lot, you get the ability called Mind Gamer, which reduces the accuracy of the pitcher you're facing, which means you're more likely to get walked. With Serrano, I had to go with the theme of he can't hit curveball, but straight ball he hits it very much, so he's a fastball hitter. And then one of the best young pitchers in the game, Benjamin Abinduct, heading up the rotation, as well as Ben Lukasiak. Did he crack the majors this year? Did he? Where is he? Where's Lukasiak? There he is. He did. He was both a starter and a reliever this year. Tim Weaver and Marty McCleary round out the rotation. And then following that up, we got John Crabtree, who keeps bumping around from rotation to bullpen. Who knows what he's going to do next? Dave Wilkinson, Etsuko Ruined the Knuckleball Princess, which unfortunately Super Mega Baseball doesn't have knuckleballs in this game. So what I do is I give them a screwball instead of a knuckleball. That's the best I can do. Orion Kerkering, his real life counterpart, is on the Phillies, I believe. And then Mark Burton. So there are your Chicago White Sox, and they will be in Group B. Group B for the Chicago White Sox, and I think they're already there on my board. Is that right? Heyo, we're already in Group B. Nicely done. Couldn't have planned that better. Next up. We've got the New York Mets, which I'm already on. All right, so they only have one catcher on their roster because they have a two-way player in the form of Jin-Woo Kim, who is both a pitcher and a catcher. Shades of Dante Haversham in Philadelphia. Where was I going here? There we go. I pull up my Out of the Park baseball roster so I can make sure I'm referencing all these players correctly as prospects or current players. Joey Bart is not a prospect. I know that. He's been around the majors for a while. Real life counterpart. Juan Serrato is a prospect in the Mets system. He should be cracking the majors here soon. Yeah, he did play 23 games with the Mets this season. Actually hit for an OPS of 171, so look out for that. The Mets are just going to keep getting better. Joe Moody is also no, he's not a prospect at this point. He's been with the Mets for a couple seasons now, but he's been doing pretty well. Ray Moran over at second base is definitely a prospect. He is a 21-year-old second baseman. Gunnar Henderson, I believe he was re-rated to try to match his real-life counterpart, right? Yes, was re-rated before the 2031 season. Dwayne The Rock Johnson can kind of play anywhere around the infield. Kurohebe Ogyoku. Don't ask me to say that again. He is a community created player of Kurzov, and I hope I pronounced it right. Tony Sawyer, one of the better defensive shortstops in the game, but a suspect bat. Dan Stark, a left field prospect. Tris Jackson, one of the starters on the Mets lineup. Louis Corona, another outfield prospect. Downtown Billy Anderson, roaming center field for the Mets. Dan Snyder, who is a decent addition to their starting lineup. And then across their rotation, we got Edward Cabrera, Jin-Woo Kim, as previously mentioned, JJ Zolo, and Jeremy Hoxie in the rotation. And then Jeremy Purdy, Ben Christensen, Fred Rogers, yes, Mr. Rogers, Pete Taylor, and Cardinal Suniaga round out the bullpen. So those are your New York Mets. Three teams left to place. Oh, no, wait. No, I didn't do the group for them. What's the group? Before we reveal what team we do next? It is Group H. Group H for the Mets. So we'll move these over to Group H, which will just replace the Padres with those. All right. So speaking of, back to this, it was the Angels. The Angeles. All right. So for the Angels, Pat Pethel, young starting catcher for the LA Angels, and Sergio Posada, who I believe is a prospect, if I remember correctly. Yes, Posada is a prospect. Very good bat, kind of meh defense. Sean Thornton, again, a victim of the weird grading system where he's got a really good bat, but not so good defense and speed. He's definitely better than a B in my mind. Lupe Sabater, one of the better names in this universe, a second base prospect. As well as Louis Moreno is actually the top rated prospect in the Los Angeles Angels system. And then Luis Victoriano Garcia, third base, brought over from the Nationals this year in free agency. Ron Quatrone, or Quattrone. Quattrone. I don't know. He's a prospect. He's a third base prospect. Yeah, third base prospect. Tom Kazansky. Again, I feel like his grade should be better than a B. Jamie Rockwell, brought over from the A's in a midseason trade. One of the young bright spots in the outfield. Mike Trout, who has already set the all-time home run record in this universe and is still trying to add more, trying to reach 800 home runs, I believe now. Is a left fielder in this universe, but he's more really a DH at this point. Barry Allen in center field. Ronald Acuna Jr. in right. Juan Aldo Brandini as another prospect. And then Jandy Ronson, the namesake of Randy Johnson. Greg Briggs, a really solid pitcher for the rotation. Qui-Gon Jim. And then Joe Dale, Josh Schwarzenberg, Garrett Crochet out of the bullpen. And then Louis Grimaldo, Michael Osoria, and Rob Rasmussen. Of those, Joe Dale and Josh Schwarzenberg are prospects. All the other ones are on the Major League roster. So there you are, your Angels. And they will be joining... you missed the Mets going to Group H. That's about it. And then the Angels are joining Group G. Group G. So that leaves Group A and D. Yeah, A and D. Yeah. A and D are left. And then we've got the Cardinals and the Padres. And it's going to be the Padres. Padres are up next. Where'd I put the Padres? They're there. Oh, wait. Did I put the Angels in the right place? Yeah, they're in Group G. So the Padres probably need some help at the catcher position, but other than that, they've got a really good lineup. So at catcher, they have a couple of prospects in Ismael Alfaro and Jamie Trimble. Robbie Smaniotto is a good hitting first base prospect, just not, again, grading system nerf with the speed and the arm. And then same thing with Juan Resendez. Not as good a prospect in out-of-the-park baseball as Smaniotto, but he still has a good bat. Chris Lawless, a second base superstar. No, that's not supposed to be Chris Lawless. It's supposed to be Jack Lawless. What did I do there? No one corrected me when I posted these rosters. Where's Jack? Chris. Not Chris. Jack. Jack. Okay, fixed. All right, Jack Lawless. Ace Defoe, another defensive and speedy boy at second. Fernando Tatis Jr. still kicking it in San Diego at third base. Asher Kim, great bat and defense. Mason Auer, a prospect, I believe. Right? Where's Mason Auer? Yeah, there he is. Well, he should be hitting the majors soon. He did play in the majors this year. Dang. Okay. I forgot. He's competed for Rookie of the Year this year. 4.4 WAR for Mason Auer. And then probably the best center fielder in the game, unless you're talking about Danny Smith Jr. and Yuna Kim. Arturo Trujillo in right field is a prospect. Yes, he's a prospect. A really good prospect, actually. Bobby Fleischman, another prospect. Chris Hinojosa, also a prospect. A lot of outfield prospects coming up soon for the Padres. Then we got a really good rotation in Jeff Hudson, Juan Flores, Mike Arnett, and Jimmy Sherman. Of those, none of them are prospects. And then we have Juan Gayton. He is a prospect, as well as Juan Robles, Jeremy Pickering. Pickering is a prospect, and then Hazel Quijada and Young Ha Kim rounding out the roster. So, of the two groups we have left, who will the Padres... Which one will the Padres join? Gee whiz. And just like... Well, they were in Group A last year, so I guess it makes sense that they are in it this year. All right, so now we know that Group D will be the St. Louis Cardinals. Let's look at their Where did the Cardinals go? Where are they? Oh, I'm right on them. What am I doing? Gee whiz. All right, so for the Cardinals, we got one catcher in Jeff E. Jackson, the most recent first-round pick in this last draft for the Cardinals. Rogelio Pujol, not Pujols, no relation. First base prospect, good hit, good bat, decent glove. Jorge Gavina was also competing for Rookie of the Year this year, along with Mason Auer of the Padres, a first baseman in this. We have three first basemen here. Jake Adamick was drafted in this last draft as a third baseman, but had the Cardinals switch him to first base. Arturo Moreno is an international prospect that is a second baseman, along with Brendan Donovan, who is the current second baseman for the Cardinals. Shane Rodecker. Look at all those blue bars. Really good power, contact, fielding, and arm. 22 speed, which is why he's an A-. Make that make sense. Shane Larkin, defensive superstar prospect, ready to hit the majors at hopefully some point soon, is the shortstop. Jorge Vallejo, another international prospect in left field. Royce Lewis, the superstar that has carried the Cardinals to multiple playoff and a World Series ring. Joe Rutan, another prospect in the system, as well as Matthew Bellows, who is the starting center fielder and the backup catcher for the Cardinals. And then my namesake, in the universe, he's Andrew Alexander, but I put Andrew because it's actually got the voice line in there because I'm selfish like that, over in right field. And then the best rated player on this roster, Ace Torrey Allenson, followed by Louis Armendariz. And then Jeremy Humphrey is a prospect in the Cardinals system, the top prospect in our system. And then Cole Winn in the rotation. Bobby Colburn is another prospect in the system. David Leal, part of the rotation, as well as the relievers Bennett Souza, Tony Santillan, and Edwin Diaz. And as I mentioned, they will be... can I reset this? Actually, I don't need to reset this one. Where did the noise go? I guess there's no noise if there's no other wedges on there. But I want to reset the A through H one because I don't want to have to keep typing it every time. The results. Clear the list. Oh, well. That worked. Nope. Well. I guess I just got to reset them all. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. And then back to this one. We are now ready for pool number 2. After I get the Cardinals. Why don't I need to reset the A through H wheel? No, that's not how the World Cup does it though. They do a random draw for every aspect of their group. They actually do one more layer. Not only do they do the team, the group, but they also do which slot in the group they go in, 1, 2, 3, or 4. I'm just not doing that last one. I'm just assigning the top team to the top spot. So like the White Sox, I'm going to move them here. Phillies go at the top, Cardinals at the top. Mets at the top of this one. Angels at the top. Blue Jays already there. And then Astros at the top. There we go. So we've got our pot 1 has been assigned. Next up, pot 2. All right, here we go. Now this pot is made up of the rest of the wildcard teams as well as every other team that was over 500 and the Minnesota Twins, which we just selected here. The Minnesota Twins were the only member of this group to not hit 500, but they were the best remaining team after we put all of the above 500 teams in this group. So Minnesota Twins are up. And I'm probably just going to go through these roster recaps a lot quicker, but I at least just want to highlight them in some form on the stream before we get into the actual tournament. So Daniel Tosca is a prospect in the Minnesota Twins system. Bartholomew Hand is the current starting catcher for the Twins. Juan Ledesma, the current starting, I believe he's either a first baseman or a DH. And then Ernesto Zavala is a prospect in the Twin system. Very good bat, but you can see he's pretty much a DH at this point. Accius Dudley, community created player, solid all-around players at second base. Kent Herbeck Jr., the big free agent signing of the Twins this offseason. Tim Hinderaker is he a prospect? He's kind of young. Yeah, he has not hit the majors yet, so he's still considered a prospect. Jamie Huckins at shortstop, I know is a prospect, because I've not heard that name across the majors. Xavier Odom, community created player, one of the best players on this roster, can play left field, outfield, and the infield. Josh Swan is a center field prospect. Joey Chestnut, one of the better, I think he's a Gold Glove winner from last year, traded over from the Rays this year. A CCP of the GM of the Twins in Aiden Pearson. Jeff Brummett, also right. They have 3 right fielders: Jorge Velasco, Jeff Brummett, and Joey Chestnut. Velasco is a prospect. Brummett is not. Chestnut is not. Then Ben Spears, one of the biggest names in this universe, has been around for a long time, kind of having a resurgent season this year. His best season in 2031 since 2028 with the Rays. Louis Montalvo. Is he a prospect? Yes, Montalvo is a prospect, as well as Nestor Cortez, who is recently re-rated. Sean Davis, another prospect. So the Twins have a lot of good pitching prospects coming up the pipeline. And then Sergio Espinoza is yet another prospect. Louis Russell is not a prospect. He is in the bullpen. Amari Prescia is also a bullpen arm, as well as Colby Halter and Everton Balmer. So they have a lot of starting pitchers that are coming up the pipeline, but all of the relievers on this roster are current rostered Twins. All right, so what group will they join? And I will make sure to note what teams are already in this group so you all are aware. So the Twins will be joining Group G, which is the Los Angeles Angels group. Now, I will point out one rule I will have is a team is not allowed to be in the same group as a team in their own division. So, for example, if the Twins got rolled in Group B with the Chicago White Sox, I would nix that and re-roll, because I'm trying to spread out the teams to play against teams that they normally wouldn't within their own division. So the Twins are joining Group G with the Los Angeles Angels. So let's move them. Where are they? Where are the Twins? And they're going to be in the second slot. Perfect. All right, next up. The San Francisco Giants. Oh, here, the San Francisco Giants. Yes, I just changed the thing for Madagascar. The San Francisco Giants are currently in the NLCS against the Twins, and I believe they just took a 2-0 lead. This goes to show when you're hot at the right time, you can make that run. Because they were the last wildcard team to make it into playoffs. They had to win a bunch of games in a row to even force a wildcard tiebreaker. Then they won the tiebreaker. Then they beat my Cardinals in the first round. They beat the division-winning Padres in the second round and are up on the Phillies in the third round. So just a crazy run by these Giants, giving me 2011 or 2006 St. Louis Cardinals vibes, or 2011 Cardinals vibes, either one. But for the Giants, we've got the superstar Cam Candela at catcher, Dana St. John catching prospect in the system, Michael Sean Kane over at first, one of the better hitters in the game, Aaron Nixon at second, Sergio Santillanes, I think I said that right. Sergio Santillanes is one of the better prospects in the Giants system over at third base. Mike Barber is also a prospect, not highly rated as Santillanes. Juan Cardenas, shortstop prospect. John Karinji, a defensive shortstop. And then John Cotton over in left. Louis Cassius is a prospect. Tegan Rogalski, there's a lot of prospects on this team. Tegan is yet another one. Jared Salinas, another prospect. And Bobby Elliott, yet another. Has he cracked the majors yet? Has Bobby Elliott? No, Bobby Elliott has not cracked the majors yet. So yet another prospect in the Giant system. And then you've got Ethan Candela and Jamie Thurman, both two-way stars that can play both the outfield and pitch. S ratings. Jerry Rollins, A-, Roberto Perry, A-, and then in the bullpen, Chuck Williams, Joe Suelflo, Patrick Moore, Sincere Okafor, and Eric Singer. The only prospect in that list is Eric Singer. He is literally the only prospect of that list of pitchers. Everyone else is in the majors. All right. Who will the Giants join? Da, 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 da. And they are not allowed to join Group A. And they will be joining... This is fantastic. They are joining Group C with the Philadelphia Phillies. Oh, that's fantastic. You can't write that better. Giants and Phillies are in the same group for this tournament as they are facing off at the NLCS in our universe. That's hilarious. All right, moving on. Next team. Seattle Mariners. All right, for the Mariners. Clap, clap, clap. We've got Joe Louis Brown, their actual starting catcher, and then Ernesto Mendoza, who is a prospect. Jeff Wallach over at first base, again, a victim of the low speed killing his ratings. Luis Salazar is also at first. He is a prospect in the Mariners system. Joe Ditto, another prospect, as well as Rogelio Maldonado. Maldonado, I believe, is, yes, they're the best prospect that I have listed here for the Mariners. Eric Kelly, the Eradicator, over at third base. Nasim Nunez, defensive superstar at short. Raheem Yennefer, I'm assuming it's Yennefer after Raheem, is a center outfield prospect. Jackson Merrill is another prospect. He is looking, he's gonna break the majors and be an impact player for sure. James Bond is the center fielder. Stephen Kwan, recently re-rated. And then community created player Ethan Westcott in right field. And then in the rotation, we've got Cecil Cantrell, Champ Bell, Grumpy Old, and Dong Hyun Hyo. All of those pitchers, actually every single pitcher on this roster is on the Major League roster. Dong Hyun Hyo just cracked his... just made his Major League debut this season. But all of these, including Josh Willenbrock, Connor Thomas, Santiago Flores, Omari Hartman, and Phil Oak, are all current pitchers on the Mariners roster. No prospects to be found there. So all the prospects are on the hitting side. So where will the Mariners go? They will not be able to join either Group E with the Astros or, well, G's already been taken. So... and they will be joining, is it H or A? H or A. It is Group H. Group H is the New York Mets. New York Mets for the Mariners and Mets are in the same division, or same group. Where are the Mariners? There they are. Boom. Mariners and Mets in Group H. All right, up next. Oops. I made that inactive. Les Washington Nationals. I don't know why I said it like that. Washington Nationals are up. Where are they? There they are. They're up here. So, the Washington Nationals, starting out with Justin Case, community created player of Pirate, the GM of the Nationals. He is the current catcher, and then Jerome Robles is a prospect for the Nationals. Mark Diggs, been the starting first baseman of the Nationals for a long time, followed by Jamie Goody, is a prospect. Chris Sabo Jr., the starting second baseman for the Nationals. Mike Grinnell is a second base prospect. Jose Anthony, been the third baseman for a while. Trey Sweeney, I believe, emulates a real life player, if I'm not mistaken. Nope, not the editor. Yes. Oh no, he is an imported EMLB on the show player. Never mind. I believe there's a real Trey Sweeney. Isn't he like a White Sox or something. I don't know. He's a prospect, though, in this universe. Jermaine Dunn, another prospect. Chris Green, very good with the bat, but is very, very slow. Jim Spiker, center field prospect, followed by Josh Pickett and Philip Milwee. I believe, has Pickett cracked the majors yet? Yes, okay, this is his second season. I thought so. On the mound, we have Serge Andrade, probably one of the best pitcher that they had this year. Brett Justice. Brett Justice is also young and cracked the rotation this year. Andrzej Sulk is definitely a prospect in the system. Joe Diggs has been in the rotation for a while. Kaizo Narita. Nate Harms is a prospect. And then Allison, Gomez, and Vaughn are all current. Yes, they are all current members of the roster in Washington. So they will be joining. They are not allowed to join. Well, the Mets are already taken, but they're also... Oh, Mets and Phillies are already taken, so they're fine. Whatever group they land on, they're in. And they are with the Toronto Blue Jays in Group F. Group F. Oh, they're already there. Hey, how about that? That worked out. Up next... the Milwaukee Brewers, the one that fell to the San Francisco Giants in the wild card play-in game, because they both tied for the last wild card spot. And we start out with probably one of their best prospects, if not the best prospect that they've got in catcher Hurry Quake. Probably the best catching prospect in baseball right now, followed by their starting catcher Forrest Heichert. Leonardo Kingston, a good bat, but suspect with the glove. Jorge Aguilar is a prospect. Luke Leto, brought over from the Marlins this year in a trade, is a very good defensive second baseman. James Harding, brought over from the Cardinals in a trade, also a very good defensive player and good utility player. Bobby Witt Jr. Was re-rated, not the superstar that he is in real life, but he's still a pretty good player. And the first ever fully community created player in Jimmy Fund was created by the entire community as a result of reaching one of our fundraising goals in a prior iteration of this streamathon. Dalen Lyle, one of the feel-good stories of the Brewers this year, brought over from the Cardinals in a trade because he wasn't going to get enough playing time, and then broke out into an all-star. Wyatt Langford is actually a prospect in the system. They have a lot of good outfield prospects coming up soon, including Wyatt Langford and Jackson Churio. Look at that A- rating in center field. I just realized none of these players are left fielders. I may switch one to a right field. Who's in their lineup as the right fielder? That's who I'll change. Who's their right fielder? It's Wyatt Langford. I will edit him to a right fielder, just for sake of them not losing defensive ability. Because in this game, it's not like position rating. It's like if your primary position, you get your full fielding, and if you're at a secondary position, you get a slight nerf to your fielding abilities. And then Louis Ayala is a prospect as well, and Dusty Murray is also a prospect. On the hill, we got their ace Gabe Hillman, Hans Kraus, Eric Carpenter, and Greg Barcelo. All of them are current pitch. Actually, every single pitcher is a current pitcher in the rotation and the bullpen. We got Chase Bender, Juan Loaiza, Hunter Brown, Gerson Bautista, and Chris Bercia. Or Bercia. I think it's Bercia. Yeah. Who will the Brewers be joining? They cannot be in Group D with the Cardinals, so if we do Group D, we will re-roll. And they are going to be in Group A with the San Diego Padres. Up next. Actually, we have a predicament here. I'm going to skip this, and I'm just going to go right to the Texas Rangers because we know exactly where the Texas Rangers will go, because the remaining two teams are the Cubs and the Pirates, and they are not allowed to go in Group D with the Cardinals. So the Rangers will be joining Group D with the Cardinals, so we will highlight them next. Where are they? Rangers. Oh, we already are in Group D. How about that? All right, so Rangers. The best catcher in the game, Lola Thurman, is leading this team, followed by prospect Deshaun Mellerson. Vladimir Guerrero Jr., kind of on the older side in this universe, 32 years old, kind of declining with the bat, but is still a great player. CJ Abrams, more defensively adept than his hitting in this universe. Chris Reeves, a prospect that I think hit the majors this year, if I'm not mistaken. Did he? Yes, he did. 107 games this year for Chris Reeves. Kevin Dantignac. Love some of these names. Dantignac. Second base prospect. Alex Lee, the starting shortstop for the Rangers. Juan Saucedo is a prospect. Also a very good-looking prospect for the Rangers. Danny Bradford out in left field. Arturo Lazaro, probably a second best prospect I've got listed here. And the first best being Luis Samano in right field. Then Jack Trainer patrolling center field. And then, you know him well, Chuck Norris in right field. Cassie Thurman, yes, related to Lola Thurman, the ace on the mound. Arturo Bonilla, also in the rotation. Justin Sharp and Eric Eisenhower round out the starting rotation. All of them are current members of the roster in Texas. The only member that is not is this next one, Rodolfo Castaneda. He is a prospect. And then McClure, Rojas, Pelham, and Fisher are all members of the bullpen. So we know for a fact that the Rangers are going to end up in Group D because the remaining two teams, Pirates and Cubs, are not allowed to be in Group D with the Cardinals. So we've got Pirates and Cubs, and we'll take out Group D. So we've got B and E left. We got Pirates and Cubs. So who is first? We got the Pirates. Pirates. All right, in Pittsburgh. Okay, there we go. All right, in Pittsburgh, at catcher, we've got the current starting catcher, Jim Lowell, followed by a prospect in Damani Devonish. Jerome the Bus Bettis with moonshot power, but pretty much everywhere else. Luis Soto is a prospect in the Pirate system, is given a pretty big boost to his overall rating because of his 99 speed. Like this game prioritizes speed a lot. If you have bad speed, your grade's gonna crap. If you're super fast like Luis Soto here, you're gonna get boosted because I don't believe he's an A- overall player in my opinion. Stone Cold Steve Austin at second base. Jim Taylor over at third. Juan Barrera is also at third. He is a prospect, along with Willem Cadow at shortstop, also a prospect. Josh Exley at left. Luis Cesares it's also at left, and Louis Balderas. I believe both of them. Yes, they're both prospects. Barry Bonds Jr. patrolling center, as well as Michael Harris II is a prospect in this universe, a little behind on his real-life counterpart. And then, you guys know him well, the two-way well, not really two-way. He can hit, but he can't really field. But he can hit and pitch. Cody Koshin, Bruce Wayne, and Esteban Escobar, as well as Louis Frias in the rotation. Escobar is a prospect. Then we've got Jared Hoyle, Juan Cisneros, JT Orr, Jared Jones, and Steve Parkerson. Of those, Juan Cisneros is a prospect. And they will be joining either B with the Whites. Oh, please be E so we can put the Cubs and the White Sox together. Go, 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 go. Yes! So the Pirates will be joining Group E with the Astros, which means the Cubs are joining the White Sox in Group B. You can't script it any better than that. We've got the Chicago rivalry in Group B. So let's see. We'll move the Pirates. Let's see. Group E. And where are the Cubs? There they are. The Cubs are in Group B. Love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Oh, did I never moved the Brewers. Whoops. I was like, where's the Group A team? Boom. There we go. All right. So now that we know where the Cubs are going, let's preview them. So the Cubs roster is as such. At catcher, traded from the Pirates, is Marc-Andre Fleury, the goalie. And then Luis Mendoza is a prospect. Rafael Bethea is a prospect, followed by Danny White, another victim of the "you are slow, you suck" grading system, essentially. Chris Testo is a second base prospect, decent looking prospect with a lot of speed. Again, speed kind of inflating the rating there. Joel Lauk is another prospect in the Cubs system. They have a couple of good second base prospects, but they do have a big contract in Kenny Rodriguez, who is currently taking the spot in the majors. Anthony Godwin, defensive superstar and can swing it with the stick a little bit. Jackie Roberts, the fastest player in the universe, probably. Louis Contreras, decent left fielder. Danny Smith Jr., probably the best player in our EMLB universe right now. Kind of nerfed a little bit with his power. But anyway, Jorge Esker is definitely a prospect. Yep. And Juan Rivera. They're both right field prospects. And then Steve Randolph leading the rotation along with Hervé Briand, the big free agent signing out of France. Mike Paisley and Louis Ortiz round out that rotation. Any of those prospects? No. Louis Linez is, though. He is a prospect, followed by the bullpen arms of Mike Allman, Joe Balducci, Nolan Arroyo, and Noah Song. And again, they will be joining Group B with the White Sox. Reset. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H are the letters of that I will need. Here we go. Pot 3 is every team that was below 500 but had more than 70 wins. Got the Reds, Dodgers, Red Sox, Rays, Yankees, Royals, Tigers, and Expos. And away we go. We've got up first Detroit. The Detroit Tigers. All right, at catcher, we've got a couple of, no, not prospects. So Timo Hernandez is the major league catcher, followed by Jorge Ruelas as a prospect. Ernesto Cedillo is, I think he's the starting first baseman for, yeah, he played 151 games this year for the Tigers, followed by Ian DuPont, who is, there's 3 first basemen. So Ian DuPont is a prospect, and then Danny Gartner is a really good hitting prospect for the Tigers. Brian Hitchcox is over at second base. He is a prospect, I believe. Yes. No. Wait. Yes, still a prospect. He's major league ready. He's in AAA. J.R. Frankenstero is the main man on this roster. Can play third base. Is a very good hitter and fielder. Bert Bates over at shortstop. Juan Alejos is a outfield prospect, not center field. Donald LaFay over in left field. Vince Trueblood in left as well. Both of them are on the major league roster. Jace DeLauder is also on the major league roster, I believe. Did he make his debut? He made his debut this season. Yep. And then Hank Peralta over in right. In the rotation, we've got Michael Moore, Giannis Garbo, Musa Vanderberg, and Josh Ballard. Ballard is the top prospect on this team. Top pitching prospect. Bo Cummings, Kevin Pearson, Gordy Washington, Jake Walsh, and then prospect Chris Bogdan round out the bullpen. What group will they join? Oops. Reset. Stop it. I messed up. I put AB on the same list. Reset. Try again. Group E. Are they eligible? Yes, they are. That will be joining the Houston Astros and the Pittsburgh Pirates. All right, next up. Oh wait, I should probably move them in here. Where's E? It's up there. There we go. The KC Royals are up next. Whoa! Like that just random guy just going, wow! Yeah! Awesome! You spun a wheel! All right. Whew. For the Royals, we've got Adrian Danini, who is their starting catcher, followed by prospect Mike Thompson. Jacob Lagunas over at first base. Oh yeah, I listed him. He's much better at first base in this, so I have him at first base. They have another third base anyway. Ismael Serrano is a prospect in the Royal system. Felix Matthews over at second, followed by Edgar von Heimdallr, which I feel like got kind of screwed over by the rating system in Super Mega Baseball 4, because he's definitely much better than this. But yeah, I don't know. He's definitely much better than this. Oh well. Jose Caballero over at second base is also a prospect. Clyde Torkel, the starting third baseman. Danny English is an outfield prospect for the Royals, followed by Judge Dozier, a free agent signing for them this offseason. Freddie Robinson in center field is a prospect. Tom Corbett is the best prospect that I've got listed here. Definitely has a high ceiling. And then Derek Besko is the current starting right fielder for the Royals. John Cowgill, competing for the Rookie of the Year in the American League, is a stud ace, followed by Ben Carter, Parker Gooch, Jorge Benavidez, and Juan Balderas is the lone prospect on this pitching staff, followed by Juan Jose Chichera, Juan Casuas, Nate Volgemuth, and Chris Wilson. The Royals will be joining. And let's double check here. They cannot be in Group B with the White Sox or Group G with the Twins. So no B, no G. No B, no G. They will join Group D. Uh-oh. Minerva, if you're watching this, we've got a little I-70 rivalry coming because the Royals are joining the Cardinals and the Rangers in Group D. So we've got the Battle of the Missouri teams, the I-70 series. That'll be interesting. All right. Enough about the Royals. Let's move them to their new division. Where is it? Oh, Group D. There it is. There we go. Up next. The Yankees, if Brandon is still here. All right, I'm going to try to move through these a little bit faster because this is taking a long time. Yankees. Jules Zana, their starting catcher. Sergio Aguilera, their, I believe, a prospect. Rafael Devers, another victim of the weird rating system in Super Mega Baseball. He's a better hitter than this, I promise. Tommy Bernero, another, well, he's pretty much just DH only because he does not run or field at all. Jackson Hedges over at second. Jose Ramirez at third. Yankee for now. Ooh, hint. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Tim Kohler over at shortstop. Sean Rodecker, their most recent first overall draft pick at short. Robert Hassel III. Jim Stewart, Ben Schalk, and Ismail Lara. I gave you four right fielders. What the heck? What did I do? Oh, that's right. You have one of your pitchers is a outfielder as well, right? Yeah, Duran Martin is an outfielder. Okay, that's what it was. But should I change these positions? Who should be center field for you? Duran Martin, I believe, is the center fielder I had. Should I change any of these other ones? Put Devers in the outfield. Let's put Devers in. Or no, let's put what was the other one? Who was the really, really slow one? Yeah, let's put Bernero in center field. See how that works out. I have Duran Martin as your center fielder. Oh, they put Kohler. So I did the auto roster thing. They put Kohler in left. Yo, what's up, Rings? How you doing? Schalt can play. I have Duran in center. And I have Kohler in left. I can switch that up if you want. Whatever you want me to do. Doesn't matter. Okay, I'll just leave it as is then. Because I believe I gave Kohler the utility ability. Did I? Yeah, I gave him the utility trait, which makes it so he doesn't suffer near as much of a defensive nerf if he's at a secondary position. So he's fine. Yeah, it's been a long time because I don't stream really anymore. I stream once a year, and it's for this charity streamathon. So I still participate with Kamish in his annual charity streamathon. I believe you know Kamish. You've been around there. And so this is my third year doing this tournament where I honor my mom. I call this the Sandy Alexander Memorial Tournament. She passed away from cancer 3 years ago. So this is my third year doing this tournament. This is my way of honoring my mom as a way of participating in fundraiser for cancer research. So that's why I do this. This is the only time I stream ever. So you'll still see me streaming this month and next month as for this whole streamathon thing. So appreciate it, Rings. Appreciate it. All right. So that is the Yankees. What team or what group will they be joining? And Rings, just to give you background on what we're doing here, I created this tournament as a World Cup style. So basically all of these rosters are the best of for each organization based on their players' potential. So you'll have a mix of their current rostered players as well as their best prospects. Like, for example, Sean Rodecker here was the first round draft pick of the Yankees in this past draft. He's not in the majors yet, but they've also got like Rafael Devers and Jose Ramirez who have been on the team for a while. So, all right. What group were the Yankees join? They are not allowed to join Group F with the Blue Jays. What else? I think that's it. Yeah, just Group F. They joined Group C. This might be becoming the group of death because the Yankees just joined the Phillies and the Giants in Group C. All right. So the Yankees are now in Group C. Up next, we've got the Rays. Last year's tournament winners are back for more. More of what? Who knows? Hopefully more winning, but I don't know. They're pot 3, which is not near the top here, so they were in a little bit of a rebuild this year, and they've got 8 prospects on this roster. Aiden Pearson ain't one of them, though. He is the leader of this team, one of the top catchers in the game. Ignacio Delgado is a prospect, though. LaRon Smith, kind of lowering his ratings as he gets older, but he was one of the better hitters in the game recently. Louis Cordero is a prospect. Tommy Edman is at the Major League roster, along with third baseman breakout star Tim Giles, who just kind of came out of nowhere, had a great season this year for the Rays. Cam Collier is a prospect, and Kaimani Stampy is also a prospect. Was he a recent draft pick? Yes, he was the second round draft pick in this most recent draft. Eric Tubbs is the top prospect I've got listed here. He was this previous season first round draft pick. So we've got Stampy and Tubbs, the first 2 draft picks of the Rays this past draft. Followed by Austin Lynch over in left field. Tommy Cook in center field is a prospect. Louis Castagnon is another top prospect. Was traded over from the Phillies. And then Ignacio Risco, yet another prospect. So like I said, the Rays have a lot of prospects because they were kind of they underperformed this year and did a bunch of trades to try to add to their farm system. Ernesto Huerta is one of them. He is the top prospect I've got listed here. Really good pitching prospect, international free agent signing. So that was a great pickup for them. Eric Newman, hello Newman, is a prospect, but he made his major league debut this season. He pitched in 4 games. Jonson Guerrero has been a member of this rotation for a while, as well as Alberto. Well, no, Soho was a free agent signing this year. Matthew Troke, the two-way player, is a pitcher and a second baseman. Tony Gonsolin is in the bullpen, as well as Mike Bowling, Corbin Klaus, and Jose Leclerc. Funny enough, Klaus and Leclerc were both members of the Cardinals World Series team last year, so they both have rings from last season. Actually, Klaus has 2 World Series championships. He was on the 2019 roster, which was before GMs took over. Who was he with in 2019? Goodness gracious, he's been around forever. The Atlanta Braves apparently won that year. And that was his rookie season. I did not know that. Cool. Anyway, who will the Rays join? They are not allowed to be in groups. I need to double check this before I do all of these because I don't want to be stuck with places people can't go. I think they're okay. They can't be in group F. Am I missing one? Oh, I didn't put the Yankees in the right group. They are there. Okay, there we go. Let's see. I want to make sure. So we have. I'm still making sure that everyone else has a spot to go. So I have the Expos. They have spots they can go. The Rays have spots. The Red Sox have spots. The Dodgers need. I'm just making sure each team has multiple spots they can go. The Reds might be the hardest one, so they need. Okay, they have multiple spots they can go to. Okay, so we're good. Let's spin the wheel. So the Rays cannot be in Group F with the Blue Jays, and they will instead join Group G, which will be with the Angels and the Twins. Whoa! All right, cool. Next up. 4 teams left. And looks like we're going to get the Reds. Now the Reds... Okay, they can't join Group B or A, so they have to be in F or H. They have to be in F or H in this spin. Which... A, B... I forgot to take E off of this. Oops. All right. The Reds. Where are they? They're there. There we go. Your Cincinnati Reds have looks like even more prospects on here than the Rays did. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 prospects on this roster out of the 22. Starting off with Camden Clark and Alejandro Kirk, who are they both major leaguers? Yeah, they're both major leaguers. They are not prospects. Danny Brennan is a prospect. Nope. Well, yeah, he's a prospect, but he hasn't hit the majors yet. No, he played in the majors this year. I stand corrected. Pay attention, Andrew. Johnny Ossington, power hitting second baseman, one of the leaders of this team. Leo Jimenez is a prospect. Juan Alvarado, blah, 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 blah. Ron Alvarado is a second base prospect. Carlos Colmenara is a shortstop prospect. Jake Glasser, another shortstop prospect. Jorge Mendros is a major leaguer. Rodolfo Valle is not. He's a prospect. JJ Langlier is a left field prospect. Trey Griffey, you know him, you love him, the son of Ken Griffey Jr. out in center field. Alfredo Alvarado. I just realized we have 2 Alvarados on this team. We have Alfredo Alvarado and Juan Alvarado. That's confusing. Then in the rotation, we got Jimmy Potts, Ismael Morado. Morado is a prospect. Juan Barella is a prospect. Cal Maduro is not. Jim McMillan is a prospect as well. Chris Daniels is a prospect. Chris Balsam is also a prospect. Joseph Adamets is not a prospect, and Juan Vargas is not a prospect. So they got a lot of prospects in the in their pitching rotation. All right, and remember, they are only allowed to join groups F and H. So if we spin A or B, we have to re-roll, and the reason why is because they already have NL Central teams in there. B, reroll. All right, this time I'll do it this way. If it's F or B, it's F. If it's H or A, it's H. So we'll do 50-50. And it's going to be F anyway. So Group F for the Reds. Joining the Blue Jays and the Nationals. And they're already there. Nice. All right, so the last three teams left, we've got the Dodgers, the Red Sox, and the Expos. So the Dodgers cannot be in Group A, but they can be in the other two groups, so that's good. The Red Sox are good to go anywhere. The Expos cannot be in H. Okay, so we're good to go. We can do any of these. Cool. I was just making sure there wasn't like a situation like last time where only a team can only be in one of the groups. So we've got the Expos up next. Montreal. All right, where are they? There they are. All right, Jorge Ramirez and Ismael Ontiveros, two catching prospects for the Expos. Russell Mathis at first is a prospect that should be coming up soon. Pretty good bat. Glenn Streamer is the starting second baseman for this team. Tucker Toman, third base prospect, I believe. Yes, Tucker Toman is the third base prospect, along with Tom Shuey, one of the best arms in the infield. Michael Brooks, defensive dynamo over at short. Ethan Moyer is the right fielder for, I guess I have him in left field here. Whoops. Okay, Ethan Moyer. I need to switch to right field because you're listed as a right fielder on this roster, or on the out of the park. Oh no, they put him in left field. That's why I just made it easy for him. All right. Anyway, moving on. Sergio Vargas is a prospect in left field, I believe. Yeah, prospect in left. Juan Soto, kind of on the downswing on the end of his career. Juan Galvez, big hitting prospect. Max Ortiz, a great defensive center fielder. And then Juan Castro in right. Now, the reason why they have a lot of... Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Never mind. Scratch what I said. John Wilverding is a pitcher, a prospect pitcher. Danny Herring, also a prospect. Jorge Aleman has been in the rotation for a couple of years, along with Mitchell Stone. Ted Boyd is a two-way player. He can both hit and pitch. Listed as a reliever in this one. Ben Carey has been in the rotation for a bit. Chris Simon, Rodolfo Villalonga, and Winston Cashman round out the bullpen. All right. Which group will they join? Group B with the White Sox and the Cubs joining the Battle of Chicago. Now, can we automatically know which team belongs with which group? Yes, we can. So the last two teams, we have the Dodgers and the Red Sox. The Dodgers are not allowed to be in Group A because that is with the Padres. So the Dodgers will be in Group H with the Mets and the Mariners, and the Red Sox will join Group A with the Padres and Brewers, which they are already here. Nice. So then we need to move the Dodgers over. Where did I put them? Group H. So let's take a look at these Red Sox. Keibert Ruiz, their starting catcher, as well as prospect Ignacio Capilla. John Douglas and Pepe Clark have been mainstays in their lineup for a while at first base and DH. Angel Flores is not a prospect. Stop it. Yeah, Angel Flores is not a prospect. Dan Contreras is a prospect. Mike Enslow over at third. Liam Spencer at short. Mark Schnell is in left field. He is a prospect. Joseph Powell also in left. Center fielder for a while, Johnny Davis. Chris Dreyer in right, and as well as Giovanni Sosa. Sosa and Dreyer are both prospects. Paul Skeens broke into the major leagues this year. He is the ace of the staff, followed by Luis Serna. The only I'll go through these. The only prospect you'll see here is Gene Farrell. Everyone else, Chris DeMars, Tommy Springer, Mike Bohr, Durbin Feldman, Randy Phelps, and Mackenzie Gore are all part of the current roster. And then last but not least of this group, we've got the Dodgers. Los Dodgers. Got Dwayne Elizondo Camacho at catcher, followed by prospect Jeremy Patton. Mike Reeder and Ismail Mata are at first. I believe Reeder is a prospect, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, he is. Juan Aceves at second base, prospect for the Dodgers. Ryan McGuire's at the majors. Edgar Barrios, a big free agent signing for them, over at third. Darius McKenzie, not the shortstop he once was. Diaper. What, Attica? Amari Niang, prospect. Antonio Alvarez is on the current roster. Jimmy Bolden out in center field for the prospects of the Dodgers. Juan Andrade over in right is also a prospect, as Eddie Herring. Did I say him twice? Did I do Eddie Herring twice? Why did I think I did Eddie Herring twice? Never mind. Jim Giesler, ace of this staff, followed by Domingo Acevedo. Tanner Bybee has yet to crack the majors, but he is here in the rotation, as well as Mike Meredith. And then Bo Burrows, yes, he's in the rotation this year as well. To be determined is a prospect in the Dodgers farm system, followed by Jake Shaler, Jordan Hicks, and Angel De Jesus. Gene Farrell diaper. I don't remember that. I must have missed something. Anyway. How you doing, Attica? Good to see you. All right, so we're clearing the board. We've got 3 of the pots done. We now are on to our last pot. Whoops. Here we go. And these are the teams that were all below 70 wins this year. We've got the Guardians, Marlins, Orioles, Stags, Rockies, A's, Braves, and D-backs. First up, we have Atticus Stags. How about that? So, before we get to the group draw, they are not allowed to join because they are in the West. They cannot join Group D, or let's see. They cannot join Group D with the Rangers, Group E with the Astros, or Group G or H with the Angels and Mariners. So they can only join Group A, B, C, or F. Actually, you know what? I'm going to adjust this. So we got A, B, C, F are the only groups that they can join. But before we get to that, we will look at their team. Where are the Stags? Where did I put them? There they are. Stags. Starting off with catcher Leon Carter. Here we go. Both Carter and Juan Zamora are prospects for the Stags. Followed by the great contact hitter known as Ben Snow, first base. Edmundo Sosa, real-life counterpart, is in Philadelphia. Joe Cox, a third base prospect. Followed by another third. Well, did he break the majors? Did Billy Ray make the majors? Yes, he's in the second season. So Billy Ray Spears over at third. Mike Gardner is a prospect in the system, as well as Richard Conway. Dominic Aguilera, the biggest contract on the Stags roster, patrolling left field. I think I actually have him switching the center in the lineup, because I don't think I got any true center fielders in here. Joe Riley is a good prospect, as well as Kevin Alcantara. Juan Barillas is the top prospect that I've got listed here for the Stags over in right, as well as Ajani Moultrie, who made his major league debut this season, to the tune of a 140 OPS plus and a 2.3 WAR in just 60 games. That's impressive. And in terms of the arms, Vito Romero, the ace of the staff, is in the majors. Ikaika Nak also joining him in the majors. Luis Castillo, prospect. Esteban Placencia, prospect. Bobby Householder is not a prospect. Steve King is not a prospect. Bobby Collier is a prospect. Brian Abreu is not a prospect, and Mike Carson is not a prospect. Yeah, not a prospect. So as Atticus states, 12 prospects on this roster of 22 players. That is the most I've noticed. They might be more, but anyway. So like I said, they can only join groups A, B, C, or F. And which group will be finished first? It will be Group F. So the Stags will be joining Toronto, Washington, and Cincinnati in Group F. There we go. First group finalized. All right, who's up next? And we will keep updating that wheel with what groups these teams can join after that. So we've got the Rockies. Yes, we got the Rockies. So they are not allowed to join Group A, C, H. Yeah, A, C, and H are not allowed because that's where the Padres, Giants, and Dodgers are respectively, and the D-backs have still yet to be placed. So the Rockies will need to be in B, D, E, F, no, E, and G. B, D, E, and G. B, no, stop doing the caps lock. B, D, G, E. All right. Blah, 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 blah. Where are they? Where did you come from? Where did you go? Where did you come from? Colorado Rockies. Where are they? Oh, there they are. Way up there. All right, for the Rockies, Louis Trejo. I'm enunciating that too much, aren't I? Louis Trejo and Louis Romero, both Louis, are at catcher. Both prospects. Ben Pugh over at first is a big hitting prospect for the Rockies. Juan Ramos is on the current roster. Mike Sewer is a prospect. I believe he hasn't hit the majors yet. Oh, he did this year. I do that all the time. He's at second. DJ Carey, third base prospect. Juan Casado is a shortstop prospect, a pretty darn good one at that. Josh Brinkerhoff, Juan Maldonado, and Dan Sorrells are all outfield prospects for the Rockies. Rob Avery, I believe he was in the majors this year. No, he was not. He's still a prospect in AAA. But I do know CJ Arsenault is in the majors. Chris Blanco is the top prospect in the Cardinals Rockies system, Colorado Rockies system. Johnny Watson pitched in the majors this year, did a 4.1 WAR, pretty darn good. Joe Ryan also pitched really well this season for the Rockies. Jimmy Craig is a prospect in the Rockies system. Jeremy Decker is not. Josh Selfie is a prospect. Juan Aguilar, I believe he is. No, he's not. Chris Morris is a prospect. Daniel Pratt is not a prospect. And Sven DeBrun is not a prospect. He is also a two-way player. So, where will the Rockies go? We have finished off Group D. With the Rockies, they will join the Cardinals, Rangers, and Royals. Cardinals, Rangers, and Royals. Boom. All right. Up next, we've got the Arizona Diamondbacks. Now, they are not allowed in A, C, or H. So they can be in B, E, and G. All right. Let me just double check on all these. The Guardian, I'm just going to go with it. Arizona Diamondbacks. So they need to be in B, E, or G, which is the same here because we just did the other one. All right, Arizona. Where are you at? There you are. Rodolfo Rivera is at catcher, as well as Juan Pedregon. They're both prospects. Maddox Balcone is at first. Chris Michael Punk the starting first baseman for the Diamondbacks. Harlan Ledlow is an infield prospect for the D-backs. Just made the majors this year. Benjamin Sisko is a prospect as a community creative player in the Diamondback system. Aaron Cross, the legend in Arizona, won the first ever EMLB 2.0 Universe World Series with Aaron Silence. Brad Bill is a third base prospect. Chad Olds in left is the best prospect that I've got listed here for the D-backs. Kevin Viviani is a center field prospect. Hendry Mendez in right field as a prospect. Juan Toledo is he a prospect? He could be in the majors. He is a prospect. He's in AAA. Jonathan Coppage, also in AAA as well. Paul Bailey, the top prospect that I've got here, is also a left fielder, so he can hit and pitch. Brock Rutherford is a great pitcher in his own right, is in the rotation at the major league level, as is Edward Elric. Ricky Tiedemann is a prospect in the system, although he just broke the majors this year for a couple of appearances. Juan Herrera is a prospect. Ernesto Maldonado is also a prospect. Juan Aguiar is a closer prospect. Hunter Gaddis and Luis Garcia are both in the current bullpen. So, where will the D-backs go? They will be joining Group B. They're joining the Chicago group with the White Sox, Cubs, and then the Montreal Expos. All right, Group B. I had the Expos. Oh, there. Switch. There we go. All right. So next up, we've got 5 teams left. We got the Guardians, Marlins, Orioles, A's, and Braves. The Braves and the Marlins are in the same division, so I need to make sure there's enough spots for them. So they cannot be in... So both the Marlins and the Braves cannot be in Group C with the Phillies. And they can't be in Group H with the Mets, but they have 3 other ones they can be in, so that's good. The Guardians are AL Central, so they can't be in E or G, but they can be in A, C, or H, so that's good. Orioles are AL East. They cannot be in A, they cannot be in C, they cannot be in G, but they can be in E or H. So that's good. The A's are AL West. They cannot be in E, G, or H, but they can be in A or C, so that's good. And then the Braves match the Marlins. Okay, so we can keep going. Sorry, I had to do that sanity check. Make sure there's more than one option for each team left. And we've got one of the East teams in the Marlins. So they cannot be in C or H. So they can be in A, E, or G. So I'll just add A to this list. All right. Marlins. Definitely a little bit of a disappointing season for these Marlins. After making the playoffs last year, they kind of fell below 70 wins. Definitely disappointing for them. I thought they were going to be consistent contenders. All right, so we've got Sergio Cervantes at catcher, who is a prospect. We've also got Sergio Urandeta, who is mainly a first baseman but can also play catcher. Mike Stanford at second is a good prospect for the Marlins. Jeff Ndaye is also a prospect. Eric Von Cola, one of the better third basemen in the game. Joe Adair. Joe Adair is a third base prospect. Red Ditt, one of the best shortstops in the game, if not the best. Sorry, I got to check on something. It's hot in this room, and I want to make sure the AC is running. Yes, it is running. Okay. Leland Sunder, the CCP of the GM, Eddie Sunder, is in left field. Carlos Rivera is a prospect. George Costanza is the starting center fielder for this team. Humberto Saldana is a prospect. Joe Gadala is not a prospect. He is in the majors. Mike Click is a broke into the majors this year. Patrice Lefebvre, the two-way player, is a good pitcher. Jorge Galasso is also a solid pitcher for them as well. Jamie Drisdom is a prospect in the system. Hank Bearden, Roberto Pena. These are all going to be major leaguers. Louis Okoa, Zach Lothar, Esteban Ortiz, and the man, the myth, the legend. He is actually in this roster. I lied. Shohei Ohtani is in this bullpen as well. So where will they go? A, G, or E? Or AEG, if you want a bit alphabetical about it. They will be joining Group A, which is with the Padres, Brewers, and Red Sox. Yup. So Group A is off the board. So now we've got... All right, I do need to double check. So Guardians. They're AL Central. They cannot be in E. They cannot be in G. But they can be in C or A, so we're good there. Orioles. Cannot be in C. Cannot be in E. But they are good for G and H as well. So it'll be the Guardians and the Orioles in G and H. And I need to make sure that E and C can fit both the A's and the Braves. Okay. So that does mean we have one option for the Braves. Which means we know where the A's... Yeah, A's can go there and the Braves can go there. Okay, we've got it. So, A's and Braves have been decided, so we'll go with the Braves first. Braves first. Here's the Braves roster. Probably got one of the most intriguing prospects in the game right now because he was the one that really tipped the scale and made it really hard to make power hitters in this. He is the only player in this entire roster to have 100 power. And that is the two-way player and recent top prospect taken in the draft, Ted Brody. His 99 power is the only 99 power in this game. But I will go back to that. It's Max Powers, but I put Mac Powers for the audio thing. And Bobby Cox is the starting catcher for the Braves. Max Powers is a prospect. Kenny Lindbergh is their first baseman, along with Gorgalicious Butiwampa. Mike Ebling is a prospect at second base, along with Juan Luna. Ryan Kreidler came over from Arizona, is a solid second baseman. Juan Espinosa is a shortstop prospect for the Braves. Isaac Granados is a part of the starting outfield rotation, along with Corbin Carroll and Juan Monroy. Tiki Duggins is a prospect, along with Brad Woodworth. Mike Spencer is the top prospect, one of the top prospects, but he did break into the majors this season with 24 starts. Ted Brody, like I mentioned, is the top prospect here. With 99 power and good pitching ability. Max Powers, not Mac Powers, is at... Sorry, this is Max Powers. The other one's Mac Powers, is in the rotation. Juan Cardenas is a prospect. Chris Whaley is also a prospect. Louis Santana is also a prospect. Forrest Whitley, Scott Hawkinson, Cooley Kirkcaldy is a Kirkcaldy is a prospect. Hawkins and Whitley are not. So, the only spot that the Braves will fit, because we have to split G and H between the Guardians and the Orioles, because both of them... Wait, am I doing that right? Guardians... Oh, no, they can be in C. Oops. The Guardians can be in C. Hold on, I messed this up. So Cleveland Guardians, hold on. Cleveland Guardians can be in C. They cannot be in E. Oh, they need to be in C or H. Okay, so Guardians, I'm just going to make notes here. They need to be in C or H. Orioles cannot, no. They cannot be in C. They cannot be in G. So they need to be E or H. Yeesh, I messed this up. EH. The A's cannot be in E, they cannot be in G, and they cannot be in H. So that means the A's have to be in group C, which means the Guardians have to be in group H, which means the Orioles have to be in group E, which means the Braves please be able to fit in group G. They can. Okay, we're good. We've got the groups. All right, I'm just going to double check this to make sure. The Guardians have to be in either... Cannot be with the Tigers. They cannot be with the Twins. Mets, Mariners, Dodgers, Phillies, Giants, Yankees. Okay, so they have to be in... I'm just going to do this again. C or H. Baltimore Orioles cannot be in C. They cannot be in G. But they can be in E or E and H. A's can be in C. They cannot be in E. They cannot be in G. And they cannot be in H. So they have to be in C. And then the Braves cannot be in C. And they cannot be in H, so they have to be E or G. Okay, so that does clinch it. So with the A's have to be in C, so the Guardians have to be in H, which means the Orioles have to be in E, which means the Braves have to be in G. Okay, we're good to go. So the Braves are moving to Group G. Boom. All right, and we talked about them, so we're good. Next up, we'll do the Guardians, who have to be in Group H. So we'll go ahead and move, or in this case, it's the Indians, because I made this before they were changed. I didn't realize this much thinking would be involved. Yeah, it's the, was it transitive property? If A plus B equals C, then C plus D, whatever. There's a lot of thinking involved. Okay, so G is the Braves. So I need to find the Braves. Where'd they go? They're up there. Then the Guardians need to be in H. A's need to be in C. And that means the Orioles are in E. Good. Okay. So now we can just go and preview all these teams. Let's go to Cleveland. And since we don't need the wheel anymore, we can make this full screen. There we go. All right. So, blah, blah, blah. After all that fun. Cleveland. Definitely a disappointing season after multiple playoff seasons in a row. I'm sure they'll bounce back, though, because they've got a good catching prospect in Loki Swayman on the rise, as well as Juan Alvarado. Slam the man, Bino. Great bat. And I realized my camera's in the way of their stats. Nope. Didn't want to move that. There. Wee. Okay. So then, okay, so yeah, Slam Bino, great with the bat, good with the glove. Alphonse Elric, one of the top contact first basemen in the game, not a very fast or good fielding first baseman, so he's a DH. Jeff Coleman, JC, over at third. Brad Novak is a shortstop prospect, as well as Jorge Lovato. And then Enya Kimura made their major league debut today. Not today, this year. Today. Today. O'Neal Cruz. Yes, he is in this game. He is listed as a left fielder, but can pretty much play anywhere right now. But he's one of those ones that gets the boost of having 99 speed. And so it just kind of boosts its grade rating. He probably is more like a B plus A minus, honestly. But whatever. That's the game. Arturo Novoa is also another prospect, along with Esteban Aguilera, Joe McCormick as well. Cruz, Novoa, McCormick, Aguilera are all prospect. Kelly Harper is not, and he's the worst of the bunch in terms of the outfield. Bob Royal is the ace of the staff, followed by David Elvis. They're probably both ace. It's like ace A and ace B. Bino Slams is a prospect in the system. Bill Reeder is not. He's been with the team for a while. Jeff Castles is an up-and-coming prospect. Jeremy Rogers as well, one of the top pitching prospects they've got. Zach Hughes, Juan Romero, and Juan Wistovich round out the bullpen. Next, we are going to look at the Baltimore Orioles over in Group E. I believe. E, and then the A's were C. Okay, cool. So the Orioles, Jack Parkman is there at catcher. He's been there for a while. And then you have prospect Lazaro Estrada. Prospect Mark Vientos is over at first. Dwayne Thexton, pretty decent hitter, but can't glove anything, over at first, probably a DH. Alfredo Espinoza, one of the better second basemen in the game. Buster Bluth, a great defensive third baseman. Austin Riley had better days. They're a little bit behind him at this point. Chris Plachowski, is he still a prospect? Did he make the majors this year? He did make the majors this year. Nick Spence, star shortstop for the Orioles. Brennan Davis in the left. Betty Montgomery is a prospect along with Louis Cuevas. Jorge Salinas is a major leaguer. Ace, Dan Walker. Brendan knows that name. Along with Ryan Weathers, Sean Lindroth, who is a prospect, and then Mike Parkin is one of the better prospects listed here. Greg Newland is he a prospect? No, he's definitely not a prospect. And then Louis Armendariz, which is not the same Louis Armendariz that's over in St. Louis. They are different players with the exact same name, is a prospect. Scotty Albin in the bullpen. Nelvin Correa in the bullpen, as well as Brian Langan. And that is your Baltimore Orioles. And then Sacramento, I believe, is the last team. Last but not least, Sacramento. Run by Cody Koshin, who wanted a challenge after back-to-back World Series titles in Pittsburgh a few seasons ago. Louis Alcantara, one of the better defensive catchers in the game. And then William Colcott is a prospect in the system. Willem, not William, Willem. Defoe. Ryan J. Lane is a first base, not prospect. Yasel Pino, pretty good with the bat. Juan Moreno, also at first base. Where is Moreno on here? There he is. He's not a prospect. Ezekiel Tovar, really good re-rate this year for the A's. And Ellie De La Cruz, once again, a boosted rating because of the 99 speed. But, I mean, that's appropriate for De La Cruz. Nelson Tyone is a third base prospect. Anakin Flamewalker, a shortstop prospect. By the way, if Attica, if you're watching, I hope you appreciate the skin and the hair that I did for Flamewalker, because I know you have him all burnt up in OTP. I have the red hair with as if he's on fire. Rodolfo Morales in left field as a prospect. Ray Franco, a great defensive prospect in center. O's Bones, one of the recent draft picks for the A's, in center as well. Ethan Price in right field. And then the two-way star, Tim Lane. And then Milt Morgan, who is a great prospect. Sergio Morales did pitch for the A's this year. Ernesto Ramirez is also a prospect. Mike O'Tay, another prospect. Kevin Dyson, another prospect. Chris Schatz, another prospect who is also a two-way player. And Jorge Barrios, not a prospect. And then Dave Clark, you are a prospect. And that's it. Here are your groups for the third annual Sandy Alexander Memorial Tournament. In Group A, we have the San Diego Padres, Milwaukee Brewers, Boston Red Sox, and Miami Marlins. Group B, we've got the Battle of Chicago with the White Sox, Cubs, and then Montreal and Arizona. Group C, we've got the Phillies, Giants, Yankees, and A's. Giants and A's having a battle of the Bay. Group D, we've got the I-70 rivalry with the Cardinals and Royals, along with the Rangers and Rockies. Group A, we've got the Astros, Pirates, Tigers, and Orioles. Group F, we've got the Blue Jays, Nationals, Reds, and Stags. Group G, we've got the Angels. Are they really? I didn't know. I mean, they're not in the same state, though. Group G is the Angels, Twins, Rays, and Braves. Actually, that's hilarious. We need to tell Aiden about this. His current team and his former team are in the same group. And then Group H, we've got the Mets, Mariners, Dodgers, and Indians/Guardians. Oh, yeah, his Braves, too. That's right. I forgot about that. But there you have it. There is the setup for the tournament. From this point on, what we will be doing is I will be live streaming the games as they happen. I will not be commentating all of them. What will most likely happen is I'll set up the stream to run on its own and not be on camera, because I'll probably run it while we're working, because we have a lot of baseball to get through. And if you miss those, I will post them on my YouTube for you to watch later. Please keep donating. I will also have donations incentives listed on the stream as well as we go. Still getting the list of those together and what the goal markers should be. But until next time, I'm done. There's your team preview and group draw for the Sandy Alexander Memorial Tournament. I hope it is a good one. Thank you all so much for joining me. And if you're watching the VOD later, hope you enjoyed. And let's look forward to some great baseball over July and August as we lead up to the week of the Charity Streamathon. We have a listed goal of 15,000. I will be putting out my goals for me to reach before we hit the main event with the commish on his stream. I do have some ideas on punishments to do, because I can't shave my head like I did last year, because I kept it because the wife liked it, and I like it too. It looks good on me. But until next time, thank you guys so much for watching. Stay blessed and take care, everyone. Take care. And no, I'm not starting. I just don't have an end screen anymore.